Greetings to you all. Normally when I receive equipment in need of repair, I do my best to repair it. But once in a while I get some equipment that really isn't worth that, and instead I do the exact opposite to them. And that's what I'm going to do with what you see in this video right now. These are a couple of all-in-one printers that a couple of people at the university residence gave me. On the left here, you see a Lexmark model X4580 all-in-one printer. It reportedly works absolutely perfect, but it just needs ink. On the right, you see a slightly dirtier HP Photosmart C4640. A printer which works, except it apparently has a paper feed problem and it also needs ink. I've tested these printers, they turn on just fine, they both scan just fine. I plug them into my computer, they're immediately recognized, Windows installs the driver. I can scan, I can print, of course nothing will come out on the page, and these work just fine. They both just need ink, and this one has some dirty rollers or something and doesn't feed the page very well. So for this printer, I don't know if a simple roller cleaning would get it working right, or if it would need a whole roller altogether, which Lord knows if you can even buy replacement rollers. But as dirty as this is, you can see it's got some sticker residue on the screen there, which is apparently a touch-sensitive screen or something, because it says TouchSmart. But as you can see, this printer's quite fancy. It has card reader and everything. If a simple cleaning wouldn't get this thing going, I would just call it junk, but I actually call this thing junk anyway, just where it's kind of filthy. And really, it's cheap, it's new, it's modern, and it's probably crap. As for this printer, apparently new ink alone would get this thing working just fine. However, there is a reason to not do that. I didn't know this. I didn't know until I was Googling replacement ink for this thing. Lexmark is exiting the inkjet business, and in 2015 they will be ceasing all inkjet cartridge manufacturing. That means as of 2015 you will not be able to buy inkjet cartridges for any Lexmark printer, genuine cartridges anyway. As for remanufactured cartridges on eBay, I looked for that, and apparently HP is really the only printer company whom cartridge remanufacturers make cartridges for. Apparently, remanufactured cartridges for Lexmark or any other printer are really, really rare. People just don't bother making them, I guess because they're not as popular as the HP. So, really there's no sense in saving this printer, because I'd have to spend the money on genuine cartridges, and after, 2 years from now, I won't be able to buy cartridges at all. So that being said, I would say it's pretty much time for both of these printers to go. Believe you me, and I know this might sound crazy to some, but if one of these printers was something like an HP LaserJet 4 or 5, I would be ecstatic, and I would put all the time, work, and money into fixing that up. The HP LaserJet 4 and 5 series, in my opinion, are the best printers ever made. But such is the case, neither of these are such. So what I'm going to do is, I'll turn them on and show you that they work. And I'll print a test page on this to confirm the paper feed problem. And after that, I'm going to tear them apart, and we're going to take a look inside and see if there's anything interesting we can do inside. So as for the Lexmark here, power comes on. And when you try to print, it flashes a message on the screen saying that the Lexmark warranty is out, or whatever. And that got me thinking, I wonder if this printer, HP's been turning out, in the past few years, printers that have a chip inside them that prevent you from using refilled or remanufactured cartridges. I think that's just their office printers though, which this isn't. But yeah, so here's this. It has Wi-Fi capability. Oh, and it also has a card reader. And yeah. Oh, look at that. My test scan page. One of my calculus tutorials. Bad memories. But yeah, this works just fine. There's the Wi-Fi light. For this one, turn it on. Screen lights up. It'll say that it's missing an ink cartridge because there's actually one missing. Yeah. This. I am a huge believer that any printer made in the past, 8 years just isn't worth owning at all. Printers have become so crappy because printer manufacturers, you know, they have a really complicated time making money off them. Because when you buy a printer, it comes with the ink. And here's the thing, and this is true, I read this once and I wasn't surprised. Printer companies actually lose money selling printers. They have to make their profit off the ink. Because of that, they make the printers really cheap and the printers come with ink, but then when it runs out of ink, you find how expensive ink is and you just buy a whole new printer. And it's a vicious cycle, and it makes it kind of complicated for the printer companies to make profit. And it also means that there's a crap ton of these terrible, crappy modern printers all over the place, because, you know, you go in a thrift store and there's like a dozen of them, because people just keep buying new printers when they run out of ink. Now, I don't believe in that. Now, if I owned one of these printers, even one of these crappy all-in-one things, if it ran out of ink, I would continue to buy new ink for it rather than just buying a whole new printer. I think it's wasteful to throw away something that's just fine just because its consumable parts need to be replaced. Even if it costs me more money, I believe in buying new ink for a printer as long as the printer is still good. No wonder Lexmark's getting out of the inkjet business, because like I said, you can't make a profit off it. All the printer companies, the reason they're still afloat is because of their laser printers. Laser printers, of course, you'll pay, I think, like $100 for the cheapest laser printer, and usually when the toner runs out, you're not going to buy a new laser printer, you're going to buy a new toner cartridge for $60 or whatever. But my printer, the one that I use, my HP DeskJet 932C, made in 2000, this printer retailed for $180, and this is just an inkjet printer. Retailed for $180 in 2000, and you can still buy cartridges for it. It takes a number 45 black and a number 78 color. Both cartridges will run you about $70, and I continue to buy new cartridges for this printer because this is a wonderful printer, built orders of magnitude better than these things. Okay, just to prove that it works, I have the HP hooked up to the ThinkPad. Here's an old notebook with my name on it. I'll scan it. Put it right on there. And we right click. Start scan. Wait a while. And then blah 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 blah. Go! And there you go. As you can see, works just fine. As for the printing, when I tried printing on this before, I used paper with stuff already printed on it. But I figure for a fair test, I'll use some fresh paper. Here is some fresh, crisp IBM printer paper. Made in 2000, when we bought our first printer, which was an Apollo P2600, wonderful color inkjet printer based on an HP DeskJet. We bought a big box of 1,000 sheets of this IBM paper. And it's gone yellow now, it's not white anymore. Maybe it was never white, but other paper is much whiter. Anyway, put it in, get out of this, delete it, close that. Right click. Oh, there we go. Print test page. Go. Oh, it won't feed at all now. Well, how about that? It doesn't feed at all. That hasn't happened before. I'll stick 2 pages in it. So this thing needs a lot more help than I thought. Definitely a junker. Let me open it up and how do you retry? Maybe the power button. No, that turns it off. Try again. Go. Wow. That is a printer in needed help. It fed before, it won't feed at all now. That's stupid. Maybe it's the back cover. Back cover. Back cover's on fine. Who cares? Anyway, let's tear these things apart. Now that raises the question, how to get in to this printer. Can't see a single screw. Well, there's a screw there. Oh, this is strange. Maybe she's held together with plastic clips. Oh, dearie. Well, I'll figure out something. Okay, so I found 2 screws, one here and one back here, that you have to kind of wiggle the screwdriver into. And then when you pry off this cover, you get a screw, whoops, right there. So if I take my screwdriver, by the way, I found the data manufacturer on the bottom. It's April 5th, 2010. Oh, it's gonna be hard rigging my screwdriver in there. Well, that was easily solved. Just take this screen off. I kind of just tore it out and all the connectors came out with it. But now we can get our screwdriver in there. And this part should come off. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh, I think there's something else holding it on. Let me see. There we go. This whole part comes off, and we got some cables to remove. So, let me set you right there. Take these cables out. And set of wires. There we go. So there's what this part looks like. There's where the power supply comes in. Hynix, that must be a memory chip where the documents come in. A couple of fancy looking inductors. Some capacitors. And yeah. And then the print cartridge mechanism. I see what looks like a really beefy looking motor down there. Got some gears here. That's probably controlled by another motor. That's where the how the paper feed works. Yeah, lots of fun stuff here. There you can see some ink, because that's where the Yeah, that's a little sponge where the cleaning pad is. Should be a cartridge cleaning mechanism somewhere. Don't know where that is, but anyhow, there's that part. And this part, gosh, there's nothing much at all. There's a hookup for the control, and there's two hookups for the scanner. And oh, I know what these inductors are for. This is probably part of this board's probably the inverter for the light for the scanner. I think it's a fluorescent light anyway, or maybe they use LEDs now. I don't know. But yeah, that's probably a power inverter of some sort. Yes, there's the motor for the feed mechanism. Again, nice big looking motor. Yeah, so I'll definitely get two motors out of that. And yeah, cool. What I'd like to do, I doubt I'll be able to make it happen, but it would be cool if I could just keep this part and hook up the required electronics and just make it into a scanner. That would be cool, and something just fell somewhere, but anyhow, onward. Here's the card reader, 6th month of 2010. I thought this was made in April. The whole printer was made in April of 2010, but maybe they just stamped it on before they put all the parts in. I don't know. So as you can see, there's really not much inside these all-in-one printers, especially modern printers, because they can miniaturize the electronics. It's all pretty basic. Even the mechanics aren't overly complicated. And I learned that these all-in-one printers apparently make very good hobby boxes, because a friend of mine who finished his 3rd year of mechanical engineering, he took one of these printers and turned it into some machine, and if I understand correctly, the entire purpose of the machine was that when you turned it on, and through mechanical means, it turned itself off. So the whole point was to turn itself off as soon as you turned it on, and there were a bunch of little switches and everything. It was pretty cool. But yeah, what I'm going to try and do is get this whole cartridge mechanism out as one piece, and maybe we can play a bit with the motor, hook external power to it, and watch this thing fly. Apparently someone at the manufacturing plant was eating a cheeseburger or something, because there appears to be ketchup. Alright, I got the entire print mechanism loose. Pulls out like that. There's what's left. Little circuit board there. That must be for the motors, perhaps. Maybe the motor just rests on there and it has electrical contact. But here's the mechanism itself. It's quite heavy and greasy. Yeah, holy cow, big motors. These are going to be the biggest motors I've ever owned. And there's the contact right there for the motor that controls the feed mechanism, which you can see, it looks very cool. And there's the contacts for the motor that runs the ink cartridge mechanism. So, in the name of fun, let's start with the feed mechanism. You can see I can turn the wheels there. Let's take a 9-volt battery and see if we can touch it to the contacts there. Alright, I got our alligator clips connected to a 9-volt battery. Let's see if it has enough power to run the mechanism here, because I have no clue how much voltage the mechanisms would have under normal operation, but let me back up here and see what it does. Absolutely nothing. Why? Oh, I feel it just barely budging. Yeah, I can hear it click and I can feel it budging. I just don't think there's enough power. Let me rig up a 12-volt power supply, and I'll be right back. Alright, I have my 12-volt linear power supply hooked up, which I shouldn't be using. I should be using my switching power supply because it has more safety built in, but we'll see what happens when we turn it on. That happens. Cool. Awesome. That is so cool to watch. I'm going to hook up a multimeter and see how much current this draws. I bet it draws quite a bit, because that's a hefty motor. It appears my 9-volt battery just didn't have enough juice, because by the looks of this, it would run just fine on 9 volts. Alright, let's see what we get. Now for the record, this power supply puts out about 13.1 volts. Oh, without a load, it puts out about 0.31 amps. Let me do the calculations here. Oh, I took the battery out of this. Huh. Let me get my alarm clock here. Casio CQ1. 0.31 times 13.1. About 4 watts. Not much at all. Of course, it draws more when it's under load. But, that's really, really cool. Well, let's try the ink cartridge mechanism mover thing. Now, that's going to be a bit harder because I have to have this thing flipped over to the other side, but I'll see what I can do. I'm going to rig up my switching power supply for 6 volts. Alright, let's see if 6 volts from a power supply does something. Oh, there you go. Do that again. That's fun. Let me hook it up to 12 volts and see it fly. Fun. Let's see how the roller mechanism works on 6 volts. Don't know what the heck is making that screeching noise. Is there something on the... That's weird. Just when you tilt it. Maybe if I hook it up the other way, maybe it's running backwards. Let me try that. Ah, that's better. Ah, this will be really fun to play with, just like this. Well, that's pretty much it for this printer. You've seen the other part, you've seen that part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this board. I'll see if this thing can actually function without the printer part installed. And I can use it as a standalone scanner. And there's that. Okay, I have just the scanner. I have the scanner plugged into the power circuit board. And I have it plugged into my laptop. I'm going to plug it in and see if we get any response whatsoever from whatever this is. See if the icon comes up. I don't know what the yellow triangle means. Oh, it means I have paper. Anyway, let's plug it in and if this works, it will be hilarious. Alright, the printer is plugged in, or scanner, or whatever this is. Not saying anything's wrong. It's not coming up as a scanner though. Let's try something else. Okay, now I have the display and the power button hooked up. I forgot about having the power button hooked up. You kind of got to turn this thing on for it to work. But this should be pretty hilarious having the display hooked up, because now this thing has the capacity to say, "Oi mate, what the heck's going on?" Because we're probably going to see a boatload of errors or something. It's going to be hilarious, I bet. If it does anything, maybe it won't do anything. It won't even turn on without all the parts hooked up. I don't know, but let's plug it in and see what it does. It beeped. Let's hit the power button. Oh wow, I've never seen these icons before. Yeah, that looks like an error message. And I don't think it's gonna work. It's not gonna let me scan, I don't think. Dang. Thing is, there's no other electronics to hook. Well, there is this board. I don't know what the heck this does, but all it is a contact plate. But I could hook this up and see if it does anything. Because I don't think there's any electronics on the, well, there might be electronics on it. I don't know, but that's quite interesting. Ah, I spy a circuit board on the printing mechanism. No use to us, but if we can get it out of there and hook it up to the main motherboard, maybe it'll start up. And, well, it's just another, that's dumb, it's just another friggin', oh, I know what this is. This is some sort of, infrared sensing board to make sure that the mechanism's actually moving. Oh, I see. Tell you what, just for the fun of it, let me actually connect this thing, like everything, up to the motherboard and just have it laying on my bed naked, and then that way it should be able to start up. We'll see. Alright, every part of it's hooked up except the control for the ink cartridges, because I accidentally cut the cable. Let's see if that's enough to make it start up without whining. Nope. Given the same error even. Maybe it's just a generic error, but yeah, looks like this thing probably won't be functioning as a standalone scanner. Oh well. What I will do is see what I can do about harvesting the light and scanning mechanism out of the scanner. Well, I've opened the scanner up. Here's what's inside. There's the mechanism to move along the track, which is molded into the plastic on this piece. Yeah, that's pretty much all the useful parts of this printer. So I think I'll cut the video off here, and then I'll make another video dissecting the Lexmark printer. So, there you go.